here to bring a new type of news show.
New insights, new styles, and new topics every day.
We are News Generation.
Bring news just for you. It's Friday, November 15th here in Seoul. I'm Song Yujin, and this is News Generation. Today, we're joined by Choi Ji-hee.
Happy Friday.
Happy Friday and welcome back.
Thank you.
And Yoo Won-bin.
Good morning.
Good morning. Now, both are here to speak on behalf of those in their 20s and 30s. So, we're going to move on to our main discussion of the day. It's Friday, time to explore topics and issues that resonate with young people around the world. Today, we're going to talk about how age is viewed across different cultures. Now, this debate was recently reignited here in Korea after it came to light that a popular actress had adjusted her age. So, Ji, could you first tell us what actually happened?
Well, this has been the talk of the town earlier this month. So what happened was South Korean actress Han So-hee, you all know Han So-hee, right? So she recently officially admitted to have lied about her age. Well, she didn't intend to lie, of course. She's born in 1993, but had said she was born in 1994. Recently, a picture that showed Han So-hee's birth year as 1993 surfaced online, which was contrary to her official profile. So Han addressed the issue publicly through a statement explaining that the confusion over her age stemmed from a very personal matter, which caused her to repeat a year in school. So she said when she was about to enter the 4th grade in elementary school, she was taken to Ulsan, southern part of Korea, because her mother was wanted by the police and she had to stay home for a year without attending school. So she re-enrolled in the 4th grade a year later with classmates who were born in 1994, which led to her being listed as a 1994 birth, and which is quite understandable too, right?
Right. And the reason why this was very interesting, and we're talking about this today, because even though she only adjusted her age by 1 year, it became major news here in Korea, making headlines, and the online was buzzing about it all day, right, Won-bin?
That is correct. It really is something to make how even a 1 year difference can make headlines here. I think it shows just how important age is in the Korean society for defining relationships. That 1 year isn't just a number, it's almost like a shift in your social status. In Korea, that single year can be the difference of calling someone 형, 누나, or just going casual. It's almost like age is a social shortcut that says, this is how you're supposed to treat someone.
Right.
And when that number changes, it's like shifting the whole dynamic. It's interesting how deep this concept runs in Korea.
Right, definitely. So I think Won-bin put it really well. This reaction from the public regarding Han So-hee once again shows how significant or important age is viewed in Korean society, especially in terms of whether you're older or younger than someone and by how much. So I think a lot of our viewers would be curious about where does this emphasis on age, where does this culture come from?
Well, historically, Korea has followed the Confucian traditions, or Yugyo, which has fostered a culture where it's natural to ask someone's age upon first meeting, or to make lighthearted guesses about it, as we did earlier before coming live.
Right.
This is because age determines how people address each other and whether they use honorifics or not. Unlike in many other countries where people address each other by first names regardless of age, Koreans use terms like, as Won-bin mentioned earlier, like 언니, 누나, or 형, 오빠 based on age. So let's take a closer look at this screen, on the screen. So there are generally 4 main categories. Although within family relationships, terms of address become even more complex. We'll not delve into that today, but we have 언니, which is a term that females use to refer to older sisters, or people or females who are older than them. And we have 오빠, 누나, 형, which are all different based on your gender as well. And age also significantly impacts social hierarchy in Korea, as seen in the cultural value of respecting one's elders, where older individuals often claim higher social status and receive respect. And similar terms of address exist in countries like the Philippines and Thailand, from what I know, such as ate. This is a Tagalog to refer refer to like an older sister, I believe. And there's also P or Kun in Thailand. As I've lived in Thailand when I was younger, you would refer to like older sister, brother as P, or Kun, someone's name, to show more respect to someone who's older than you. And if we have viewers out there who are from the Philippines or Thailand, please do let me know if I'm correct or you have any further explanations regarding your sort of terms of address in your country.
Right. So this historically comes from a heavily Confucius society, Confucius value. And here in Korea, I want to mention once again, even if someone is born in December and another person is born a month later, the new year in January, this honorifics or this term calling someone older, even a month older, 언니, 오빠, is quite prevalent here in Korea, and it's kind of been seen as a norm. And because of this heavy significance or heavy emphasis on age, people who are exactly the same age often feel a sense of closeness or comfort, especially when they meet each other for the first time, right?
Yeah, that's right. That's actually very well put, Eugene. In Korea, sharing the same age is like being part of like your little circle.
Right.
It forms like a very like natural intimacy, like you're having a shared experience, even though you just met them. But it can also get intense because it affects everything from friendships to how you introduce yourself. There's this unspoken rule that we all have to follow based on our age, and it is a really big thing in Korea. In fact, before Korea adopted the international age system last year, we used the Korean age method, which is where we all have the same age. We're born one, and every new year on January 1st, we get a year older altogether.
Right.
And this makes everyone born in the same year to have the exact same age. So it's easier to identify who is older or younger than you.
And I think because of this, when the international age system was first implemented, there was a lot of confusion here in Korea when you should use honorifics and how we can calculate the age right now. But nowadays we're seeing a change happening, especially among our generation, because it seems that more young people today seem to see age as just a number rather than putting more significance on it.
Right, right. So with globalization, the whole idea of asking people's age upon first meeting may be considered impolite now, and this has gained traction in Korea as well. So recently, people have become more cautious about asking others' age. It could be intrusion of privacy, perhaps, and it happens less frequently than before, especially among the younger generation, because in the past, age was seen as a way to maintain social order, but with an increasing emphasis on individualism, the need for hierarchy has really diminished. And the shift is also evident in the workplace because we refer to other people as their name, 님,
Right.
to show respect after. So it's something that we put behind people's names. So I would say like Yujin 님 or Wonbin 님 to show respect without like the age difference. And this is a sign of respect and to create a more egalitarian atmosphere in the workplace. So this also reflects a growing trend towards a more horizontal and inclusive culture, regardless of age.
Right, and these days I think there's a new office culture here in Korea where you also refer to your boss by their name by adding the 님 to, not their status. So I think this is one of the changes that we're seeing, especially among our generation. Now, Wonbin, I also want to ask you, are you seeing this change as well?
Yes, I also agree as well. I think it's very true. I think we're seeing a very big shift in our generation. We're still respectful, obviously, but we're moving away from letting age totally dictate from how we treat each other. Instead of asking, how old are you at the first time, we're starting to say, what do you bring to the table? And it's a very fresh perspective. Age is starting to feel less like a rule and just more like another fact about that person. Plus, with many people focusing on 자기 관리 nowadays, which means to just take care of yourself, go to the gym, eat healthy food, the idea of having a youthful look and a baby face is becoming a trend, and age feels more like just less of a critical part of your life. On top of that, in the past, there were pressures in Korea where you had to achieve certain milestones at a certain age. For example, graduating university, getting your first job, getting married, having kids. However, now that people live longer and they delay marriage and having children, it seems like it is also fading away.
Because they have their own pace
That is
of
correct.
doing their career or studying. Now, as we're talking about how more young people are viewing age as a number, as part of the generation, we are going to take a look at what we think by bringing our regular O and X session once again. So please raise your O or X sign for each statement. We prepared 3 statements today as well. So let's go with the first statement. Number 1, when meeting someone new, I usually ask how old they are. 1, 2, 3. XX. So let's first hear from you, Ji.
Well, I also think, as a millennial myself, it's not very polite, or it could make the other person uncomfortable when I ask the age upon first meeting, because they might not want to reveal it. Although today, when I first met Wonbin, I did ask, because our topic is age. Yeah, I usually don't.
I think this also shows a change in the mindset among our generation, because in the past, in the previous generation, it was not really considered impolite to ask someone how old they were. It was kind of like a basic question. Now, Wonbin, why did you pick X?
For me, personally, I feel like not knowing the age of someone when you meet them for the first time, it actually kind of gives like a sense of mysteriousness. So it's a little bit more interesting, and there's more things to guess. Also, when you don't know their age, or if I do know their age, actually, I inevitably grow a sense of prejudice, some sort of prejudice depending on their age. However, without knowing the age, I think I can avoid those situations.
All right, now let's move on to our second statement. Number 2, I'm open to seeing or marrying someone who's 10 years older or younger than me. 1, 2, 3. X and O. Oh, so let's first hear from Sigi.
Okay, well, this may be my prejudice or overgeneralization, but if you have a huge age difference over a decade, like 10 years, then I feel like you could have that generational gap between the two of you. Although there may be older people who are mature and open about accepting new cultures and the generational gap, I think it could be a thing that could become a barrier between the two relationships, because I prefer mature yet open people, but those two things don't tend to go along.
That's right.
But of course, there are exceptions. There are people who may be a lot younger, who seem very mature, and the other way around as well.
Okay, now Wonbin, why did you choose O?
No, I decided to go for O because, well, obviously 10 years older or younger is a bit of an extreme example. However, what I like to say is that I try to focus more on the person rather than the age. You know, in Korean and English, we just say that age is just a number. And I think what that truly means is that age doesn't actually represent that much about that person. Someone can be very young, still going to school, but yet might have a very mature personality and a mindset. However, someone who is a little bit older than them can still have a very soft-hearted mindset, which is, again, not bad. However, because of that, when I see or look a person for someone to meet or someone to marry, it's more about their personality and how well I get along with them, rather than looking at the absolute age of that person.
That's also true.
Yeah, so I think we reached a consensus that marrying or meeting someone or dating someone, it kind of depends on that person.
Right.
Okay. Now, our final statement, number 3, if I were running a business, I'd be fine hiring someone older than myself. I think this is kind of a Korean thing, but let's take a look at what our panelists say. 1, 2, 3. O and O. Okay, so Wonbin, would you like to go first this time?
Yeah, of course. So speaking of this question, have you guys watched the movie Intern?
Oh, yes, I did.
With Robert De Niro and Anne Hathaway. I think it's a very good example for this question. It's like a young startup business CEO hires a senior intern who's Robert De Niro.
Right.
And at the very beginning, the CEO, Jules, Anne Hathaway, she's very uncomfortable and hesitant on hiring an old intern who's older than her. However, at the end, they help each other a lot and build a very good relationship. Just like this, I feel like working with someone older, especially in Korea, it may be considered a little bit uncomfortable because you are a boss of someone who is older than you. However, if we look into with a business mindset, I feel like there will be a lot of things that we can learn from each other, especially the younger person. And if the older person was in that specific field for a very long time, he will have a lot of experiences that I have not experienced yet. So I feel feel like it'll be a very interesting experience.
Right. So as long as both the boss, the younger boss, and the older worker have mutual respect with each other, I think that it won't be a problem.
Right.
Is this also what you think, Chi?
Yeah, I agree with Wonbin, and I think his answer to the second question applies here for me. It's not about the age, but what the person can bring to the business,
right.
what contributions he or she can make. And I mean, in Korea, like you said, we might feel a little reluctant or uncomfortable having to order or make requests to people who are older than you, especially when in the workplace. However, as long as you have that horizontal culture and a mutual respect for each other within the business, within the workplace, then I think it won't be a problem. It's about the competence, how well you can get work done, not about the age.
Definitely. So until now, we've listened to what our panelists as part of the younger generation think. Expanding our discussion, we also asked our viewers whether they think age is just a number or if it means much more. So let's take a look at the results. So the survey was conducted on our Arirang YouTube channel from November 7th to 13th on the question, how do you view age? And among them, 60%, more than half, answered that age is a guide for how we should act and live, and 40% just a number. So I think that more of our viewers as of now think that age is still holds quite a bit of a significance in the society. If we take a look at some of the opinions, one of our viewers said both, so it could be both just a number and also a guide for how we should act and live. Another comment, I will say that age, while sometimes giving useful information, should not get in the way of gauging people for what they are. Benny D97, our last comment, says, I do think that age could be a guide for everyone on how we can live, act, and handle our duties. So we've taken a look at our viewers' comments as well. For more on opinions on this ongoing age debate, we're going to invite a Gen Z from Belgium who's studying in Korea to our talks after a short break.
NewsGen wants to hear from you. Go to YouTube and search our channel Arirangnews. Click Community and leave a comment down below. Make a new type of news with us.
So today we're joined by Kenan Breven, a Gen Z from Belgium. Kenan is currently studying media communications at Sejong University in Seoul. Welcome, Kenan, to the show.
Hi, good morning. Thank you for the invitation.
Good morning. Thank you for joining us. So, Kenan, our first question for you is, are there any interesting or surprising experiences related to age that you've encountered here in Korea?
Yes, definitely. In Korea, age has a strong social role and influence a lot how people address each other and behave. So I remember a few moments where I hesitated how to speak to someone, not wanting to be too casual. For example, when I met new Koreans, or for example, my sonbae, like my senior, it was very difficult for me to express myself because, I learned the first basic words in Korean and how to express between me and someone older than me. So at first it was very, very difficult and kind of embarrassing. But I think the biggest difference with Belgium is that even small talks can include age, and you have to understand how to relate socially, So yeah, I think Belgium is more informal in terms of age, and it's not that like defining factor in everyday interaction. And so yeah, this moment stood out of me.
I see. Well, you've sort of told us about the difference between your culture and Korea, but how does this culture around age in Korea compare to that in Belgium? Like, what's the biggest difference, we should say?
I think the most striking difference is that in Korea, age shapes a lot of social interaction and even expectation ways like that we aren't as emphasized in Belgium. Korea values a lot of seniority and hierarchy quite highly. Age often determines respect levels, while younger people generally defer to elders. Belgium, however, is more individualistic and informal, with less focus on hierarchical status or structures tied to age. So people tend to relate based on their interest or personality rather than age. So Belgians may feel more comfortable expressing opinions regardless of age differences. So, for example, after my graduation in high school, and I wanted to meet my old teachers again, they didn't expect me to be as formal as before. So even back in school, some teachers prefer to we have to speak to them more friendly, though certain protocols were still in place. But now when we met each other, I like to just talk casually because I expect them talking with friends. So it's very different.
All right, that's a very interesting difference. Now, personally, Kenan, do you think age is just a number, or do you see it differently?
I think there's truth in both perspectives. In one hand, age is indeed just a number, in the sense that it shouldn't limit how we pursue goals or express yourselves. But culturally speaking, it can serve as a useful guide, especially in society like Korea, where respect for elders is very central. In Belgium, there is a tendency to focus on individual freedom rather than age-based expectation, which can be quite liberating, but also mean that we don't benefit much from wisdom of older generation. And I think it's valuable to find balance, appreciating age as a part of personal growth, but not letting it define or restrict us. I believe age serves as a social marker, and it doesn't have to define capabilities or responsibilities, or even social expectation. So since the concept of age, the majority vary across countries, these differences doesn't have to determine yourself. So, for example, in Belgium, the majority is 18, but in Korea it's different. It's 19, I think. So it does not mean that Belgians are more mature quickly, simply that rights and responsibilities are offered us earlier, so which can be seen as an advantage or disadvantage.
All right, Kenan, thank you so much for your time today, and hope you have a lovely weekend.
Thank you very much for the invitation.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Right, so based on our discussion today, we can still see that there's some sort of an age hierarchy that still exists in Korea, but by looking at the opinions from the younger generation, it seems like we're seeing some change. We're becoming less of a rigid society when it comes to age, so we'll see what happens next. And that's all from us today, but NewsGen will be back next Monday at 10:30 a.m. Korea time. Special thanks today to Chejiki.
Thank you.
Thank you, and Iwon-bin.
Thank you always.
Thank you, and thank you everyone for watching, and hope you have a great weekend. We are
News Generation.